Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for attending our webinar here today. Today is November 1st, 2017, and this is PandaDoc 101. In this webinar, we'll go into the in-depth review of the PandaDoc system, learn how to set up the account, and create documents in multiple different ways and set up reusable templates. My name is James, and I'm the Technical Manager here at PandaDoc. And at the end of my presentation, if you do have any questions, please use the Go-To Questions Meeting and Answer box. We can go through those together. And when you have a few moments, almost make sure you download the 3 handouts also available to you found through GoToMeeting. So let's go and start off here on PandaDoc.com. I'm sure most of you have gone out here before to kind of take a look around. Go up to the solutions real quickly. Now inside of PandaDoc, we do all different types of documents, everything from proposals, e-signatures, contracts, quotes, and HR-related documents as well. And through my webinar here today, I will be talking about a proposal/e-signature hybrid in order for you to give some ideas and thoughts of how you can create your documents in minutes and not hours in order to help you save time to work with your individual recipients. Up here at the top, let's go into the template section real quickly here. And this is something I do recommend that all of you check out. We do all these templates that the PandaDoc team has created in the past few years or so. We have many, many different templates that are available. And the best part is that as long as you have a PandaDoc account, you could use any of these templates free of charge. And with that, we can do everything from proposals and invoices and quotes, business plans, receipts, standard documents, and even tax forms as well. So be sure to take a look at these. Lots and lots of great ones that are out there and might help you within your PandaDoc journey. Let's go up to the pricing section real quickly here, and you notice that we have 3 PandaDoc plans that are available that are professional, business, and enterprise. And we will be talking about all the features that are included within the professional, all the features that are included with the business, and a few of those features that are included with the enterprise version as well. So let's go ahead and log in, and here we go. So when you log into PandaDoc every day, the very first thing you can see here is something called the dashboard. And what the dashboard is give you that visual representation of all the different variations of documents you have inside of your account. Now, inside of PandaDoc, documents are defined by a status. So when you create a document, it's considered a draft. When you send it out, is considered a sent. When it's viewed or opened by your recipients, is considered viewed. Using our e-signature tools, we also have a completed status, meaning your recipient has completed the document, and we also have a voided status as well if you're using our expiration options. Over here on the top right-hand side, you notice a time selection option. This is automatically set to 1 week. However, you can definitely increase this over time to give you a better representation of all the different variations of statuses and documents that you have inside of your account, just like you see here. To the right-hand side, we also have a timeline. Timeline is a great tool to help you out by individual documents. For example, when statuses change, for example, when it's being completed, there's green check marks. We'll let you know when that happens. When you make comments or your recipient makes comments to that also show up as part of the timeline. You can have your mouse cursor over it, give you a time date stamp based upon that individual event. And it's just simply a really, really great way in order to keep you track of the documents and the recent documents that you are working on. On the top right-hand side, let's go into the inbox real quickly. The inbox is for you and for your account or your email address when you log in, and that's just a great way to be notified on certain events when you look at on CC'd on documents, for example, or if you have to sign documents, or if you have signed documents as well. It's really a great method in order to kind of keep up to date with all what's going on. And with this, you can access that document specifically. You can delete that notification from the inbox, and of course you also have the ability to download that document straight to the PDF. So remember, everybody, while we're creating our documents today, or our templates today as well, we're really creating 2 versions of documents, right? We're creating an online web version so your recipient can sign them through an internet connection and web browser, but we're also creating a PDF version at the exact same time. So next to the inbox, we also have a profile icon, and here you can gain some different aspects of the application, including your account information and whatnot. But we also have a great products update section here that we update and let our clients know that when we have changes to the system or updates or new features to the system. So please be sure to check this out. Great, great content found for there as well. And then finally, to the right of that, we also have this question and help icon, also known as our Learning Center, where here it's going to take you some how to set up your account fully, including the setup guide through 10 individual steps. Now, we'll be talking about most of these options here today, but definitely a good way to get your account fully set up. We also have some existing videos if you're interested about that, our full and detailed FAQ or help center, so if you're for self-learning, self-help, those types of things. And we also have a submit help request where you can fill out this information and in turn submit a request, and our very well patient staff and trained staff will help you out with any questions along with your PandaDoc account at all right? So once again, let's go back to that dashboard. Once again, defining out the statuses. We'll definitely be talking about this again, and we'll be going through a life cycle of a document today so you have an exact idea of what it looks like to create, send, view from a recipient's point of view, and to complete that document as well. All right? So let's go back up to the UI or the user interface. We do that by using this left side icon up here. And here you can gain different aspects of the applications. We'll go through real quickly. First, of course, is documents, and all of your documents inside of your PandaDoc account will be stored here. We'll go through and explain this in much more detail. We also have templates, of course, and I'll be walking through templates today and how to set these things up by using these things called roles, these things called tokens, and all excellent, excellent ways in order for you to save time going forward. We'll also talk about the content library. Content library is part of our business and enterprise plans, and basically what this is will allow you to save bits and pieces of content to be used again and again, and I'll certainly walk you through that process of how to add items to the library and how to use items to the library. Once again, all about saving time. Next, let's go into the catalog, and the catalog is part of our CPQ functionality, also known as Configure Price Quote. And this works in conjunction with our pricing table block of content. So if you want to create proposals, quotations, invoices, all that, we do have those options available in PandaDoc, and I'll walk you through that today. But a simple catalog over here on the left-hand side, we do have folders for sorting and for organization information. Inside the main view here, we can sort out by SKU, name, and created. On the top right-hand side, you notice this is how we can create brand new items for the catalog. We do have import and export options as well. Let's go ahead and click on a website setup. And what we're looking at here, everybody, is all the fields that are associated with a catalog item. So we have a SKU field, which is going to be our unique identifier. We also have an item name, of course. We have a currency label that you can set up with all different variations of labels that we have, an amount for that price. We also have a cost field. It has to do with our business and enterprise plans. It allows you to add a cost and profit margin to your pricing tables. We also have a full detailed description here, so all this information that you include in the description would also be included inside of that pricing table by default. We also have images or high definition images that you can also add to your catalog items, something I highly recommend, especially if you're doing products and services, those types of things. And this is really a great way to add more professionalization to your pricing tables, and I'll show you what all that's about here. And of course, we also have options for custom fields. So you notice a custom field here by the name of time of completion with some value of 4 days. And I'm going to show you how we can also add custom fields to our pricing tables as well. So I usually walk people through this process real quickly just because you have some understanding of the layout and how catalog can be used. But we'll definitely be talking about this again when we go through our pricing table block. All right. Next, of course, is our contacts, and our contacts of who we're going to be sending out the documents to. Now, we do have multiple different ways of adding contacts inside the PandaDoc system. You can create them here by clicking on New Contact, or you can also build them out or create them while you're creating your documents as well. So let's go and click on New Contact. And what you see here is 5 fields. We have first name, last name, email address, company, and phone information. And we always suggest that this information is filled out is that we can also use this to auto-populate information as well. And once again, I'll be talking about how we can set up at the template level, but how we can auto-populate our contact information at the document level, all about saving time. And then, of course, once you've created your contacts and sent out a couple document to them, you can always open up that individual contact, and in turn, you can see all the documents been associated, and you can sort by statuses and titles and all that. And you do have that ability to create a brand new document for this contact as well from right here. All right. So next, of course, is our reporting module. Our reporting module is part of our business and enterprise, our enterprise plans only. And this is just simply another great tool and options to give you some more what's going on inside of your account, either breaking down by activity, by the revenue generated, and we also have how many times your template's been used and your content library uses items as well. So, you know, maybe not necessarily need this right now, but as you continue to go forward in your journey with PandaDoc, this might be a great option to include with inside of your system as well. And then finally down here at the bottom, we also have the add-on store, so a lot of great features. I'll chat with you about that later here today. And of course, some settings of how we can set up our account. Well, let's go back up to documents, right? This is what we're all here about today, of how we can create documents inside the PandaDoc system. So first, let's talk about some organization. So first, over here on the left-hand side, once again, you can create folders to separate all the documents. Inside this main view, you can sort out by title and status and create it. We also have a great way to organize by using tags or keywords for each of your documents as well. And you can also do this for your templates and for your content library items. And this is simply just a great way in order to help you organize by adding keywords, maybe for a specific person or types of documents that you create. And if you do set up your tagging options, we also have a smart search option to find that tagging very, very quickly by using search. For each document that you see here, for example, over here on the right-hand side, there's a little bit of a context menu. Do you see that there? And from here, you can duplicate items, you can move items to the folder, you can rename draft documents, and you can also delete documents as well. But we also have the ability to select multiple documents at one time right there. And up here on the right-hand side, you can also duplicate them, move them to a specific folder, for example, if you want to put them into like a welcome, things like that, help about organization. And of course, an option to delete. So let's go ahead and click and create our first document today. We do that by clicking on New Document on the upper right-hand side. So here's the new document screen that pops up here. We've got all these great options, and I'll walk you through this today. First is we have My Templates, and we have an option to create a brand new blank document or using our existing templates that we have here, or you can scroll down, and once you start building out those templates, it'll all show up right here as well. As part of our enterprise plan, we also have a share template options, meaning you can share across multiple sub-workspaces or sub-accounts of PandaDoc. We have public templates, so just like we talked about on our website, we also have 10 public templates available right inside the application, so be sure to check those out if they work out for you. And then our first option we have here is called the upload. Now what's upload? Upload is physically taking a file from your computer or a cloud storage and adding that into the PandaDoc system to be used. And the reasons why I take people through this process, because we all come from different facets before we came to PandaDoc. A lot of people came through using MS Word and PDF and faxes and those types of emails, and sometimes we need to use our existing documents we've used in the past, and we have that ability to do that inside of PandaDoc. So we could drag and drop a file in here, or we could choose it from a local file from your computer, or down at the bottom here, you also notice some cloud storage options that you can connect to your PandaDoc account, including Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, and OneDrive that you can also use to upload your files into PandaDoc for processing. So here's an example of, here's my Google Drive. I'm going to go and click on Start Files, and I'm going to choose a file here called a sample document for webinar and click on it. And what's going to happen is it's going to physically upload this into the PandaDoc server in order to be used for processing inside of PandaDoc. So let's give me a couple seconds here while we get this, here it is. So here's our document now that we have. So one thing you always have to remember, everybody, if you're using our upload option, you do not have the ability to make any changes to that document, right? Because you have to think of that document as almost like as an image. Once you've uploaded it, you can't make any changes to it, okay? However, what we can do with PandaDoc is we can add these things called fields. And basically what fields are a way to capture information from our recipients. And we'll go through each one of these today to break these down of how you could use these as well. All right. So first, in the upper left-hand side, you can have a name of your document. So here's, you can change the name. To the right of that, here's it always can tell you what the current status is. Always right there. And we do have that tagging option available inside of the document. Over here on the right-hand side, we got fields, of course. But let's talk about recipients. Now, what are recipients? Of course, who we're going to be sending out those documents to. And then all we need to do to add a recipient, we can go in the name or email field. We click on that. We have a couple options here. We could type in the first few letters if we have already added them as part of our contacts that we talked about. Or we also have that ability to add a brand new contact, or even add yourself if you want to be CC'd on documents, for example. Well, because I've already added my sub-account that I'm going to send out my recipient to, all we need to do is just type in the name, click on it, and now you notice that this person is associated with this document. A great feature available as part of all of the PandaDoc plans is our signing order option. That meaning that you flip this on, now if you have multiple recipients of your document, it will go in a specific order. So let's say if you have 3 people, person A, person B, and person C, and you want them to view it or even sign it in a specific order. you can do that with the signing order option into the on position, and you can move that person up or down, in that individual position. So be sure or be aware that we do have that option as well. All right. So now, because we have a recipient associated with this document, let's go ahead and add those fields. So like I said, fields are simply a great way to add ways to capture information. To use fields, all you need to do is simply drag and then drop them over. Each field over here on the right-hand side will have some additional settings you can set up. For example, our title. This is a really great way to enter in some help text, for example. So what we have here is entering your name. And you notice that this title would show up right inside of that field as well. Below that, we also have a required option, meaning that if this is set to the on position, your recipient must fill out this field in order to complete the document. We also have a multiple line text option that if we flip this on, now you can expand this box out to have multiple lines of text for your recipient to fill in. For example, paragraphs of information or a couple sentences of information, right? All available for you right there as well. And then finally, of course, we always want to make sure that we have assigned a recipient. So our recipient here, been associated with this field, and you always notice that because we always have a flag that will pop up to let you know which fields are assigned to which individual recipients, right? Because you might have multiple recipients and you have multiple fields for each person. So we always want to let you know who that is. Next, of course, is the signature field. And this is really a great way to capture a signature or e-signature from our recipients. And this is also another way to complete the document status. Over here on the right-hand side, we have assign a recipient. And of course, we associate that with the recipient. And then, of course, we also have some additional types as well, including draw, type, and upload that you can configure for each field depending on how you want your recipient to complete it. So here's our draw option that use your mouse, the type option, so their full name, they could choose one of these, and of course also the upload option where they can upload their file as well. So lots and lots of different things you can configure how you want your recipients to fill in their signature. Next, of course, is the initials. Initials are really a great way to capture their initials, of course, from our recipients. And over here on the right-hand side, we got the required option, assign to recipient, and of course, the initial types as well for draw and type. We'll keep going here. Next, of course, is the date. If you want to capture a date from your recipients, there's a calendar option would show up for them to fill out. We do have a title, required, but we also have a date format here, which is kind of cool because it all depends on how you want this information populated. So let's say we select this to day, month, year. When this is then filled out by recipients, it will have that type of formatting structure, and of course assigned to recipient as well. Next, drop down. I use this one every single day for lots of different things, from yes, no's to confirmations of pages and whatnot. Simple. You have put a title in here if you wanted to. You could have said it's required, so to force them to check that box, for example, and of course assign a recipient as well. Next, drop down. Drop down is a great way if you want to provide choices for your recipient for them to choose from by using the drop down. Here you can put in a different title. You can set it's required. Of course, assign that recipient, but here you also build out your individual items. For example, item number 1. Whoop. And then we'll go ahead and add item number 2. And we'll add one more just to be safe, for example, item number 3. And once we do that, we also have the ability to move them up or down if you want them put in a specific order. And you can always confirm what your choice is going to be by matching up or clicking in that field, and it matches up exactly. So really, really great option if you want to have choices for your recipients to complete. Next, let's talk about the masked field. The masked field is a great way to go if you only want you and the recipient who is associated with this field to see this information by using this masked field. And this is like a really good thing for, like, authorization numbers, credit card numbers, that type of stuff where, you might have some situations where you need to send out a document to 2 people, but one person is filling in a credit card, for example. Right? Well, you don't want to share or show that information to all recipients, so you can use that masked field so only you and that recipient can see the information inside of that field. And then we also have upload. Upload is a great option as well if you want for your recipient to attach a file to this field. So often, numerous times, they might have their own documents or their own images or schematics they want to provide to you so you can start to work, right? Well, you can use this with the title option as well, or the upload option, excuse me. We're here and put in title, You can set this to required, and also you could build out some individual help text as well, so what you'll include within that field so you be very personable to that individual recipient. For example, hey James, please use this field to upload your files, right? And that information which you'll write inside that individual field. And then finally, of course, our last field that we have here is a little bit unique from the others, and this is the text field. And what this is all about is for the upload files. So remember we talked about, right, we don't have the ability to modify our text once we've uploaded the file. However, this field basically allows you as the author of this document to add additional information to this document. For example, hello, please complete all fields, right? So all you're doing is just adding some little extra information in there so you could use that field wherever you like as part of your documents, all right? So like I said, this is just a simple and first way to using PandaDoc. Once again, because we all come from different backgrounds, we might have to use those existing documents, but be sure to play around with that. It's really a great tool, all right? So next, everybody, I'm going to start talking about our templates now and how we could use templates in order to save time. But I'm also talking about using our editor and all the great options we have for creating our own content, and of course of how to design what that's going to be represented to our recipients as well. All right. So first, just like we talked about with documents, we do have the ability for some sorting or organization with our folders here. Our main view, we can also sort by title and our course are created. We also have those taggings, remember, at that template level as well. Each template over here on the right-hand side does have that context menu as well for duplicate, move, rename, and delete. And you also have that ability to select multiple templates at one time as well. All right. So let's go ahead and click on New Template on the top right. Let's talk about this process. So first is we have the Created Template, and we also have that Uploaded Template option. So the same things we just talked about, right? You can upload a file as a template, and of course use those fields as well, and use that to create future documents. But this time around, what I'm going to be talking about is a Create a Template. Now, this is really where the power of PandaDoc comes in, because we provide, once again, all these great tools and options to create your own content, but also the look and the design of how that's going to be provided to your recipients. So here we are inside of a blank template. Over here in the upper left-hand side, this is how we could change the name of the template. So I'm going to do November 1st templates. We all know what this one is. To the right of that, once again, those tagging options as well. Over here on the right-hand side, let's talk about this. First is we have content. This is what we use to create our templates and documents inside of our editor. We can also use comments here. Comments is really a great tool and a way to communicate internally. So if you want to have a discussion about your templates, you want to have somebody to review your templates, or you could use comments just to include how this template is going to be used, right? Let's go into roles. So here's the big differences, everybody, between a document and a template inside of PandaDoc. So at a document level, what we're doing is we're adding recipients, right, like a piece of mail before we send it out to them. A template, we are adding these things called roles. Now, what is a role? A role is added to a template to help us predefine those fields that we talked about, such as that signature field and that initial field. But this also creates 4 tokens for us automatically to fill in our contact information that we discussed, including our first name, last name, and email address stuff information, right? So this might sound a little confusing here at the beginning, but I'll be sure to break this down for you step by step and walk you through of how you could use roles in order for you to save a lot of time inside of PandaDoc. So let's go now back to content, and we're going to create our first content information, and we do this by using blocks. Now, what are blocks? Blocks are basically a simple tool that you can use to add different variations of content in order to create out your templates and documents inside of our editor. First is we have the heading block. All we need to do to use these blocks is simply drag them and drop them over. Over here on the right-hand side, you will notice that we do have different options for each of these blocks, and I'll walk through these as well. So first is our heading block, and we can have our different layouts from an H1 to an H6, because this also works in conjunction with our table of contents. But for our purposes here, I'm going to just use this to an H1 because this is going to be the title of our template. We can highlight our text. We also have this short editor here at the top. For example, if we want to center our text, we could change our font families. We could change our background colors, and we could change our front colors as well, to example, to a green. So that is just a simple way of adding a header to a template or a document. Next, let's go into text field. Text field, or text block, excuse me, of course, could be add all variations of text to your documents and templates. Over here on the right-hand side, we do have different layouts available, including straight text, image left, and image right options as well. I'm going to use the straight text here, and I'm going to paste that information in there just like you see, or you can start typing it in there, of course. Over here on the right-hand side, I forgot to mention that all blocks that we have also have an advanced section that you can also use custom CSS. And if you don't know anything about CSS, don't worry, you don't have to use it, but if you do, this is just simply more great ways to add more customization to your content that you have. So back in this text block, of course, we also now have this full detailed editor that shows up at the top here that we could do things like bold, for example. And we could do italics or underlines. We could choose our templates, for example, or our templates section there. If we want to, we could change to different font sizes, like 20-point font. You notice it got a little bit bigger there, right? We have our font colors and options and background colors. Let's go and set that to a red, for example, right? We can also highlight things like this, so we could do bullet point lists if you want to be interested in things like that. We could also do numbered lists, which is great. And we also have indent and outdent options if you want to create trees of information, for example, things like that as well. All right. We also have hyperlinks, which is great. So let me go ahead and add a PandaDoc.com here. And if you ever want to link out your social media, to your websites, you know, that type of stuff is all available. All you need to do is highlight a piece of text. You click on link, click on insert link, you drop in your URL, click open and hit insert, and now you have a fully functional link that's also associated with your PandaDoc analytics as well. So if you want to know how many times people have visited from your websites or visited from your links from your documents, you can certainly do that as well. All right, so that's just simply as a text block option. Next, let's keep going here. Next is the image block. Image block over here on the right-hand side, we have different options available here. We can do everything from 1, 2, or 3 different types of layout options. We also have alignment options if you wanted it centered, a left, centered, or right justification. I'm going to use a one option image here to add an image. It's very simple, everybody. All we need to do is we click on this plus sign, and add image box will pop up here. And we have an option here called upload. I'm going to add a file real quickly here, so bear with me. Go ahead and drag and drop it in there. So now that file has been uploaded to PandaDoc, and now we have some options. First, we can use this image directly, or if you're part of our business and enterprise plans, we can also use our image library, which is great, right? So once you've uploaded that image, you'll never have to ever change it or upload it again because it's included within your library. But for our test case here, everybody, let's go to click on Use Image. So now you can start to see by using these blocks of content of how we can create our different versions of documents and templates we have used in our editor. Next, let's talk about the video block. Video block, we support YouTube, Vimeo, and Wistia videos, and this is something I do recommend if you do use in proposals, quotations, you know, presentations, those types of things. It's very simple to add. Find your URL of the video, paste it in here just like you see here, click save, and there it is, populates it automatically inside of our editor. And which is great, everybody, is that when you send this out to recipients, is also they can just simply click on it to play that video, and also show up as a inside of the PDF version as a clickable link. So I cannot stress enough about video. It's a really, really great way to provide content, provide information about your recipient to your recipients about your company, your past work, which you're working on, you know, those types of things as well. All right, let's keep going. Next is the table block here. And the table block is starts off with 2 rows and 2 columns of text. And it is over here on the right-hand side. There are some options available for our table as well. And this is like very good for, like, you know, terms and conditions, you know, side-by-side types of text as well. So lots of different ways that people use our table block here. Plus, you can use the editor here at the top. You want to make sure for bolds, italics, and colors, and all that type of stuff as well. So I'm going to remove this block, and you notice this block undo button. You see that down here? Well, this is going to show up for about 5 or 6 seconds or so, and then that's going to go away. However, we do have ability to restore deleted content by clicking on deleted blocks like you see here, or if you go into more and then go into deleted blocks, here's that table block that I just deleted. But please note that these blocks are only available for 7 days, okay? However, if you ever want to restore your accidentally deleted information, you can simply drag it and drop it back in there just like any other block that we have of content, okay? So just remember that we do have that deleted block option as well. All right. All right, let's keep going. Next is the pricing table. So the pricing table works in conjunction with our catalog. We mentioned that before already. So because we've added some catalog items to our account already, all that we need to do now is add this block and go into the item name field here, type in the first few letters of that catalog item, click on it, and there it is. Populates all the information from the catalog, including the name, description, and of course any photos as well. Now, with our table, it's very customizable, lots of great information here. I'm not necessarily going to go through everything here today because we have so many different options, but just real quickly, we could do currency options, we could change our decimal places, we can add taxes and discounts as well to our tables as well. We have our heading options where it says name, price, quantity, subtotal. You can turn that on or off. We also have options for borders. We also have options for different variations of totals to include within inside of your pricing table. And what's also great, everybody, is that all these labels that you see here, they're all customizable. For example, total, or down here at the bottom. Maybe you don't like the word total or grand total, right? This is one of my favorites I've always used. This is what you will pay, right? So very customizable of how you want to set up your individual tables. So please be sure to check out our FAQs and play around with all those great options that we have with this table. I'm going to click on Add Column here, and from here we can also add our SKU information, or if you have any custom fields that you've included with your catalog items, you can also click on for example, my time of completion here, and in turn this will drop it in as a column, and I can change this. I make this bigger, make this smaller, depends on the size of the information that we have here. But very, very, very customizable, so please be sure to spend some time with our pricing table block. All right. All right, everybody, let's keep going. Next is that table of contents. So I'm going to drop that in right here. Table of contents, as I mentioned before, works in conjunction with our heading blocks that we have. So I never use in our H1s, but what I'm going to do real quickly here is add a couple additional heading blocks above each of my information here to kind of separate or split out or create sections of information. So I'm going to do this about us information over here on the right-hand side. I'm also set my auto number, so I want all my H3s to be auto numbered, and I'm going to add another heading block above my my video here. Set this to an H3. Call this about us video, and I'm going to add one more above my pricing table as well, everybody. Once again, all about creating sections of content. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this about us pricing. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this if your documents are going to be small, but if your documents start to get over 5, 6, 10, 12, 100 pages in length, I do recommend that you do set up your sections by using heading blocks and TOC, as your recipients will have a much better experience reviewing all the content that you created for them. So here's an example of our table of contents just built upon those brand new heading blocks that we just built for each of those individual sections as well. All right. All right, let's keep going. Next is that page break block. That's this guy. So I'm going to drag and drop him in here. So I mentioned already that when we're creating or using PandaDoc, we're really creating documents in two ways, right? We're creating documents via a web browser view, and we're also creating that PDF view at the exact same time, right? Well, if you wanted to have a little bit more control of how it breaks on the PDF, you could use the page break block. So for example, here we have all of our content on page 1, and I've added this break here, and then we have page 2 of content, right? So the PDF would show page 1, break to page 2, and of course page 2, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So like I said, if you want to have a little bit more control, that page break block is simply a great way for you in order to do that. Next, let's talk about our cover page. Cover page will be added to the beginning of the document. So here's our cover page, but as we scroll down, here's our first page of content, right? Well, cover page is really great, once again, for proposals, quotations, presentations, where you want to provide a little bit of extra pizzazz or professionalization to your documents. And we can certainly do that with our editor here. So over here on the right-hand side, we do have that cover page. First is the background image. So if you wanted to add one of these pre-existing images that we have here, or if you want to add your own image, for example, your logos, cover page, for example, you can click on that, and in turn, you can add your own background, like that, for example. Next, our logo image. This is our show logo. That's this guy right here that we can move up or down, but we also can turn them on or off. But we also have the ability to move it left, centered, and right justified as well. I'm going to add an image real quickly. Click on the plus. However, this time I'm going to use my image library option because I've already uploaded this image. I'm going to go and click on my little buddy here, click on him, and there he is. So that's an example of a quick logo image that you can include as well. This next section here is the title, of course. You notice that we have the November 1st title that shows up here, but of course your document title would be displayed in here as well, and you can also modify and change this in order. And we also have a text layout option, which is available right here as well. And over here is configurable by 1 column or 2 columns of text. And this is like really good for like prepared for, created by information. You can also use your tokens in here as well to populate your contact information as well. So all great ways in order to add a cover page. I'm going to remove this from our example here. However, I just want to show you, making sure that you're aware of that. Once again, great options for all those different variations of documents. Next, let's talk about the page header and footer. Header block will be added to the beginning of every page in the PDF automatically. And over there on the right-hand side, you'll see we have different layout options available, including straight text, image there on the left-hand side, and image there on the right-hand side. But we also have page numbers as well that you can enable by 1, 2, 3, or page X of Y as well. And I'm going to go ahead and add some quick text to this real quickly and go ahead and change my color of this to a blue. And there's simply a great example of a page header that will show up on every single page of the PDF. The exact opposite, of course, is the page footer. Footer block will be added to the end of every page in the PDF automatically, and it does have all those exact same options that I just told you about with that page header as well. But of course, it's going to be at the bottom of each of the individual pages. And then finally, of course, for our blocks, we also have an attachment block, and I'm going to drag and drop this guy right in here. So what the attachment block is that, remember what we talked about, that upload option with our files, right? Well, now we have the best of both worlds, everybody, because with the inside of our editor, we can add images, we can add our own text, we can add videos now, we can add pricing tables, but we also have the ability in order to attach or upload your own files that will be included as part of this content. So once again, you might have some existing files that you don't necessarily want to recreate inside of the PandaDoc editor. You just simply want to upload them into it. We do have that option with the attachment block. All right. So that's all the blocks that we have. Next, let's talk about our fields once again. So fields is all about capturing information from our recipients. Let's go add a couple fields here to our content. So here's our signature field. Over here on the right-hand side, you can give it a different name if you like. But remember, everybody, instead of a recipient, we have added that role, right? So remember, we've added that role called signer, and this role is associated with this individual field. So what's going to happen is that when I create a document from this template, it's going to ask me or prompt me to assign a recipient to that role one time, and in turn, all fields will be automatically associated to that recipient. All right? And of course, we do have those options for the signature types that we can configure at the template level. And then I'm going to add one more because I've always do a signature and date together. So over here, here's my date field. All I need to make sure is my date format. We'll set that to day, month, year. And of course, my assign role, that role is associated with that individual field. All right. And then our last piece that we have as part of content is we also have tokens. Now, what are tokens? Tokens are created at the template level, but are used at the document level to auto-populate information. So once again, everybody, remember we created that role called signer, right? Well, because we did that, we automatically get 5 tokens: first name, last name, email address, company, and phone. The exact same 5 tokens that is part of our contacts that we can use as part of our template to populate information. For example, we want to use each one of these. To use the tokens, very simple. We click on that. A little check mark will come up. We go into our content. We press Control-V to paste in that individual token. And I'm going to do that with a couple of these, so bear with me while I get all this filled out. Email address as well. And I'll also add company to my token list. You notice that everybody on the left-hand side here, it would also go as yellow to let you know that there are tokens as part of your content. And over here on the right-hand side, it's going to tell you the number of times those tokens was used as well. Okay. A great feature that we also have is the ability for create custom tokens. For example, signer address info. And the reasons why we have custom tokens as well is for the fact that we have many different integrations, including Salesforce, and Dynamics and Sugar and Pipedrive and HubSpot and many others, that inside of those systems, they also have all those extra fields as well, right? Well, now with our integration and using tokens, you can automatically have that two pieces connect, where it's pulling that information directly from the CRM into your PandaDoc documents by using tokens. So if you are using one of those integrations that we have, definitely check out our FAQ and help documentation about that, because each one that we have is absolutely fantastic, helping along with PandaDoc as well. And then finally, of course, we also have some predefined tokens that are automatically created here, including you could use all these, including created date, for example, reference numbers, sequence numbers, if you're using our features for that, and of course our pricing table information as well. So if you do remember, we did create one pricing table here today, but I'm going to use this token here called pricing table 1 token, and I'm going to populate this in the exact same type of way. So this is what you will pay. I'm going to paste in that token because it's associated or situated with my other tokens, right? So basically, think of it this way: tokens can be used anywhere as part of your content. All right. So we talked about all this different ways to create content today. Once again, blocks or to create information. Fields is all about capturing information from our recipients, and tokens is all about populating this at that document level. All great ways in order for you to save time. All right. So next, over here on the right-hand side, let's talk about this library option. And if you remember, this is that content library piece that I was telling you about. It's part of our business and enterprise. And basically what it does, it allows you to use or save and use bits and pieces of content. So let's say, for example, we created this template. We want to save this image, or we want to save this text block with all this stuff filled in. We want to save this video, or we even want to save this pricing table, right? Well, with each one of these blocks, we can click inside the block. Over here on the right-hand side, we click on this little dot, 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 and that in turn is going to take us into an option right here called Add to Content Library. With this, we have two options: add to a new library item or build on an existing library item. I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to call this November 1st text box. We all know what this one is. And I'm going to click Add. It's now going to be added to my content library. So over here on the right-hand side, I can always go into my library. Just like any other block of content, we can go through and search for that. Here it even gives you a preview, and I can simply drag it and drop that in just like any other block, right? So the library is, a really, really great way in order for to help you save time. Not necessarily for your individual use, but maybe for like your sales team members, right? Where you don't want them to create content, you want them to pick and choose content to send that document out very, very quickly. All great features as part of that content library. All right. So finally, let's go into more. Inside of more, we got a couple additional options that we could use. First, let's go into settings here. Inside of settings here, you can find all your information about your templates, and of course, documents have settings as well, where you can have your owner who created the template, when it was created, and if you're using some additional features that we have, you can also set up expiration, which I have set this to expire out within 10 years. We also have an auto reminder feature that you can also enable for example, your recipients never open the document, and auto reminder will automatically be generated and sent out to them to open the document. And of course, we also have template sequencing as well if you want to set up a numbering sequencing for your documents going forward. All great features that we have inside of PandaDoc. Next, let's talk about the workflow. Workflow is a fantastic option as part of our business and enterprise. And basically what this is, this will allow you to set up an approving process before the document can be sent out. So have you ever been in a situation where you had some information, you maybe had the wrong pricing, or you had bad grammar or bad spelling or wrong information about your recipient, right? Well, with the workflow, you can simply get this enabled for you, and in turn, before your team members can send this to use this template, then send out a document, and needs to be approved by a manager or an administrator before that, for that double checking. It's a really, really great way, just to provide those additional ways of double checking before documents can be sent out. And then finally, we have design. And inside of design, you're going to find two things. You're going to find styles, you're going to find themes. Inside of themes, you're going to find a few different themes that our PandaDoc team has created here in the past. If none of those work out for you, you also create your own theme by setting up your styles. So inside of this, first is we have our heading font. So all of our H1s or H3s today, right? Well, if you wanted to, you can change it to a different format or font all in real time, for example, something like that. Or one of my favorites, Roboto Slab, for example. We do things like that as well. Below that, we also have text font. So all the text that we have today, we can also change that to example Times New Roman. Give me a couple seconds here. Let me do a quick refresh of my page here, everybody. Bear with me. Appreciate your patience. Here we go. Just going to simply reload this document here. Let's go back into that. So here we are with this, excuse me. Go back in my design. Here's that text font. We just changed it to the Arial font, for example. Or we want, example, change it to the Roboto Slab, for example, something like that as well. All right. Here we go. Make sure there we go. There's a good example of those changes. Next, that theme color. Does your company use a color theme? Well, if so, I would recommend that you set this up, because with this, you can, I'm going to go choose pretty close to PandaDoc green here. But what we can do with this is that our table of contents will go to that color. Our hyperlinks that we've set up will go to that color. And if you're using tables or pricing tables, those headers will go to that color as well. All again about setting up a good presentation by using color and all that type of stuff. You see all this gray space here behind this template? It's kind of blah, right? Well, if you wanted to, you can set up your own background image as well. So you can use one of our pre-existing images, or you can upload your own image, for example. I'm going to choose our San Francisco skyline, and this is where headquarters is based upon out of. You can kind of see now this template and this information kind of pops out, right? Because once again, it gives that image quality, right? It gives you that professionalization, you know, really good, maybe some nature scenes around your area, you know, a company logo, a company picture with your employees, all great ways to add different types of content behind the scenes of your documents and templates. If you do decide to upload your own individual images, we do have a couple different options for best fit. We do have paper sizes as well for US letter and A4 for the PDF. I do recommend US letter. You have a little bit of extra space in the PDF version as well. And then finally, as part of our styles, we also have custom CSS. So once again, we do have a fully functional custom CSS editor here, where in turn here, sky's the limit. You know, you can do everything from font colors to margins, and even use Google Fonts if you're interested. And then once you define out your styles, you can then use save as a new theme, and in turn use the same theme again and again and again for your future templates and your future documents as well. All right. So, you know, as part of this template, we went through and we defined this template today. We created our content. We're using a couple fields here to capture our signature and initials, or excuse me, signature and date, excuse me. And of course, we're using some tokens here that we're going to populate at that document level. All right. So what I'm going to do now, everybody, is we're going to create our first document from this template. Let's do it. So the very first thing that pops up here is assign people to roles, because remember that roles is associated as part of that template. All I want to do now is just to choose a recipient and have that associated to that role. So now we have my sub account here, James Templates, associated with signer. Here underneath add more recipients, I can add additional contacts that want to be CC'd, or I can even include myself to be CC'd as well. And all I need to do now is click on start editing. And now it's going to take us into our first draft document. So this is that status of draft I was talking with you about, right? All about editing our document. So because we're using tokens, everybody, it says review tokens. You have one unfilled token in this document. Click on review and fill. Great. When I click on that, it's going to take me into my token selections, and we notice that here's all this information automatically populated where that token existed. So these first four ones, the first name, last name, email address, and company, well, that's all coming from our contacts we've already set up. So that's why the information is populated in there. We go into that custom token, because we're not using our CRM or anything else like to populate that information. I need to fill it out one time. For example, 1123 East Bridge, right? And you notice that this information would be automatically included within that, and of course anywhere else that token was used. However, once again, if you're using our integrations, that information would be automatically populated right from that CRM. And then finally, of course, because our pricing table, we have we're using that token for the final amount of $400, I can click on that token as well, and right here it automatically says $400 as well. All right, so those fields, once again, we talked about that signature field and that date field. Now, if I click on that signature over here on the right-hand side, here's that recipient is now associated with that signature field and, of course, with that date field because we have assigned a recipient to that role one time. All right. And then, of course, inside of our draft document, we could add additional blocks of information. We could add more fields if we wanted to. Over here on the right-hand side, we can go into our content library once again. If we want to add any additional information to this template, we can simply drag it and drop it in just like that as well. All great features as part of that content library. But what I'm going to do now is go ahead and send it out. So let's do it. So click on send. So the very first thing that pops up is this new document name. So I'm going to do November 1st. Quote for James, give that a good title. Click on save and continue. The next thing that pops up here is the send document screen. From here we have some options. So if we're using the expiration, that's going to let us know a little bit of a notification, let us know when that's going to expire, and also that reminder option that I have enabled. We do have the ability to modify our subject line, so the subject of our email or recipients received, we can change that up. We also have an additional messages option that we can put in some message to this person, but we also have a save message option that we can click on. We can create new messages or use existing images that we've created in the past. For example, my example message, when I do that, it automatically populates that out, and now I can send the document. So what I'm doing now is I'm going from a draft document to a sent document, right? Because I sent that out of the PandaDoc system. All right. So next here, everybody, is here's an email that's into my Google Gmail that I'm seeing here. This is an example email of how this is going to be sent out to our recipients. So here is our subject, of course, of our document. Inside of this main view here, we have this PandaDoc logo. You can change this inside of your account. I'm going to show you how to do this. And down here at the bottom as well, you can also change your footer information as part of this email. Inside our main view, it says, hey, hello, per our discussion, please open, complete the document. Questions, let me know. Let's do it. Open the document. So now, everybody, we go from a sent status to a viewed status because our recipients opened it. At the exact same time, you are, as the author of the document, is going to receive an email stating, hey, James, open up your document. Check it out. So now, as a recipient's point of view, what's great about our system, everybody, is that this can be open across any major web browser that's available today. It could also be used on mobile devices and, of course, on iPads and Android tablets and all that type of stuff as well. So as part of our recipient's view, over here on the left-hand side, and once again, we do have that PandaDoc logo. You can change this inside of your account. I'm going to show you how to do that. Here's our title of our document, of course. Over here on the right-hand side, we have our comments. So here's our first email that we sent to them. Down here at the bottom, they have the ability to create a comment. It says, hello, I just opened the document. And once your recipients post that comment, you, once again, as the author, would receive an email stating, hey, you got a new comment, open the document, check it out. All right? So here's our document that we've created today. Oh, we have these two signatures. This is why we have this black bar here. Do you see that, everybody? Where it says you have two items to fill in because the PandaDoc system is smart enough to know which recipients has to fill out each individual field that we have. Here's our token information that's been populated, of course. Here's our About Us video. If I want to watch this video, all I have to do is hit play.
Sales reps like you.
All right, all fantastic, right? Now they don't have to search for you on YouTube or find you on YouTube or search for you on Google. It's all available right inside of the content as part of our videos. And then finally, of course, here's our pricing table that we've included here today with our website set up. Here's that image in turn I can click on, and that brings up a lightbox image, right? Or a larger version, high definition. And if you have multiple images, of course, a scroll bar would show up here to go from one image to another. But we do have a website set up of the time of completion of 4 days, which is always great to know. The price of $400, so our subtotal is $400, and this is what you will pay, $400 right here as well. We go back up to top of where we need to sign, of course, and all this information is right here with that token that automatically populates from the table. Let's go ahead and complete this document now. We do this by clicking on each field, or we can follow this black bar, so click on next here. So here is our e-signature by our signature field that we have. So once again, I could draw using our mouse, and they could change a different color here, for example, from black, blue, and red. They could choose their type option. Their information would show here. They could choose one of those, or of course that upload option as well. So I'm going to use the type option today. I'm going to use it red today, and I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to click on accept and sign. Automatically the signature pops up in there, and in turn it says one more item to fill in, and in turn we know which is the date field, so we can click on next. Here's a calendar option that pops up. I'm going to choose the end of the month. It populates with how we define that field, and then it says all items are filled in. We can click done. Once we do that, everybody, now we're going from a viewed document to a completed document because it's been completed by recipients. At the exact same time, you as the author would receive an email automatically letting you know that the document has been completed. Okay? So this message now will pop up here. It says, congratulations, you've successfully completed this document. You can download a signed PDF version now. Because remember, we're creating that PDF version at the exact same time, right? So I'm going to open this up through my Chrome web browser, but any Adobe Reader or Acrobat or PDF Reader can certainly use or access the PDF files created from PandaDoc. So just like we walked through our online version, here's our PDF version that we created today with all this information included, and our signatures included, the dates included. Here's that video once again. Here's that pricing table. And then finally, of course, here's our digital certificate. So for each and every single document that you send out to PandaDoc, and that you're either using that signature field or that initial field, when that document is completed, we'll generate a digital certificate that includes an individual reference number, their first and last name, their verified email address, the date and time of when that happened, and of course the IP address. So just in case you have any type of legal issues, you are covered with your valid e-signature document. All right. So I'm going to close out of that. Now I'm going to go back into my PandaDoc account and do a quick refresh here, because now we've gone through the process, of creating that document. We sent it out from our dummy recipient. The dummy recipient completed it. And now, real briefly, I want to chat with you about the things of how we can keep track of each document we have inside of PandaDoc. So this is that same doc we have now on the upper left-hand side. It has that completed status, right, because it's gone through that process. With that, over here on the right-hand side, we can go into activity. Inside of activity, you're going to find three things. You're going to find comments, which of course, here's our first email. Here's when they replied. And down here at the bottom, I can reply back, says, hello. Thank you so much for completing the document. So I cannot stress enough that these commenting options that we have inside of PandaDoc is really, really a great way for you to continue that communication with your recipients to let them know, hey, we have everything you need, and in turn, we can start working on that process. Next, of course, is the audit trail. So remember, everybody, we talked about the dashboard, right? Definitions by statuses. Well, each document that you have as well will go through that life cycle. So we know it was a draft. We know we sent it out with that specific email message. We know our customer viewed it. We know our customer completed it, and all that information is available right there. And then finally, of course, we also have actions, and basically what actions it really does, it breaks it down even simpler. When we created it, when we edited it, when we sent it, when our customer viewed it, when the emails went out, when they opened it, when they completed it, all that information is available for you right there as well. And then finally, of course, our analytics. We do have analytics for each document and for each recipient that is associated with each document. And in turn, you can open up the analytics, click on each recipient, and in turn, it's going to provide you some information here about how many times it was viewed, how much time was spent on your documents. Right there, you see that information available, and includes by individual pages and breaks that down as well. All right. So we talked a lot about today. We talked about the dashboard and how we could use this to keep track of our documents through statuses. We created documents in multiple different ways of using the upload function, and we created a template that we created a document from that template by using our editor. We talked about those things called roles and tokens and fields we used. We sent that document out to a dummy recipient, reviewed it as a recipient's point of view, so now all of you have an understanding of what that process is like, and then finally did a review in order how to keep track of each individual document by using activity and analytics. So back to the dashboard for the full life cycle of a draft to a sent to a viewed, and then finally to that completed status where I can click on that individual status and in turn open that document up to always have an understanding of what's going on. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open up some live Q&A. So if you do have some questions, now is the time. Please let me know through GoToMeeting. And while I wait for those, let's go ahead and talk about the add-on store. So, through our presentation here today, everybody, we talked about a lot of different options that are available, and this is all available inside of the add-ons, okay? So this is by per individual plan that you have. So if you're on business and enterprise, you'll have most of these features here. But please be sure to take some time with this. Each one of these features can be configured for your account for different types of setups you want, including that content and image libraries options that we talked about today, that reporting option that we talked about today, that audit trail, that analytical information, of course, the auto reminder options, the expiration options, all available inside of the add-on store. So please be sure to take a look and spend some time with that. And then finally, of course, is our settings, and this is something I do recommend that each and every one of you spend some time to go through this and making sure that your account is fully set up. We do this with our profile. Profile here is where you can add your image if you wanted to. This is add more extra professionalization to your accounts because this will be included inside of your commenting, and this will also be included on emails that you send out of PandaDoc. We also have our first name and last name information here, or email address information here, and ability to change your password. If you plan on doing your own signatures, you can set up your own account, your own signature as well, instead of you manually have to fill it in each time. And of course, we do also have notifications when you want to be notified. I personally want to be notified in all types of events, but we do have additional options here that you can play with of how you want to be notified via email. Next here inside of account information is simply a great way to understand inside of PandaDoc which plan that you have, how many users that you have inside of your account. Next, let's go into integrations. We talked about integrations today of how we could use those to work with PandaDoc to help you save time by populating information through use of things called our tokens. Here is simply an example of all the different integrations that you have. Each one of these is absolutely fantastic to help you along with your journey and your CRM. Team, of course, is how we add team members to your account as a per user, per license basis. We click on invite new users. All you need to do is just fill in an email address. You do have the ability to type of role they have or what type of access. And in turn, our enterprise version as well also have custom permissions. You can be very specific of what type of access they do have. And then finally, of course, underneath our settings, we do have all these different options. We can include our setup our account, including those signature types we talked about today, those initial types, that default theme option that we have there, and of course, if you're using our expirations and auto reminders. And then finally, of course, our branding. Here's where you can add your own logos instead of using the PandaDoc logo here. Change that up as well to put your information in there. Once again, all about adding professionalizations to your emails and what your recipients' document views are going to look like, and of course that email footer down here at the bottom. All right, so I'm not seeing any other questions coming in today, so I'd like to thank you so much for you to coming in and spend some time with me today. Going forward, if you do have any additional questions or concerns, you're always welcome to reach out to us by using this help question icon, clicking on submit help request, filling this out, and send this off to you, and we'll be sure to take care of you, okay? All right, so that's all it for me today. A survey will pop up here at the end, so if you do have a couple minutes, please go ahead and fill that out to let me know how I did. And we hope to see you next time for some upcoming webinars that we have in the future. We thank you so much, and you have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.